The rain came down in sheets that November evening, turning the alley behind Main Street into a river of forgotten things. Officer Marcus Chen had walked this beat for 12 years, long enough to know every crack in the sidewalk, every shadow that moved in the night. But nothing in those 12 years had prepared him for what he was about to witness, a sight that would crack open his carefully guarded heart and change two lives forever. She couldn't have been more than 19, maybe 20 at most. Her clothes hung off her thin frame like rags on a scarecrow, soaked through from the relentless downpour. But it wasn't her appearance that stopped Marcus dead in his tracks. It was the baby strapped to her chest with what looked like torn bed sheets, and the way she was methodically sorting through a dumpster, her small hands moving with desperate precision as she collected aluminum cans and dropped them into a trash bag that was already half full. Marcus had seen poverty before. God knows he'd seen plenty of it in this neighborhood. But there was something about this girl, something about the fierce determination in her movements despite the rain, despite the late hour, despite the infant who should have been somewhere warm and dry. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Miss, are you okay?" His voice was gentle, the same tone he used with his own daughter. The girl spun around, her eyes wide with fear. In the dim light from the street lamp, Marcus could see she was even younger than he'd thought. Her face was gaunt, hollowed out by hunger, but her arms wrapped protectively around the baby. The infant couldn't have been more than a few months old. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please don't take her from me. I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying so hard." Marcus held up his hands, his heart already breaking. "I'm not here to take anyone from anybody. I just want to make sure you're both safe. It's freezing out here, and that baby—" "Her name is Hope," the girl interrupted, her chin lifting with a pride that seemed impossible given her circumstances. "I named her Hope because that's all I have left." Something in those words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He'd been a cop long enough to build walls, to maintain professional distance, but those walls were crumbling fast. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Sarah." She was shivering now, her teeth chattering so hard she could barely speak. "Sarah Mitchell. And before you run my name through your system, yes, I'm in the system. Foster care until I aged out at 18. No family, no one. And the baby's father?" Sarah's laugh was bitter, sharp as broken glass. "Gone the minute I told him I was pregnant. Haven't seen him since." She shifted the bag of cans on her shoulder, and Marcus noticed her hands were bleeding, cut from the sharp edges of metal. "Look, officer, I know this looks bad, but I'm not on drugs, I'm not breaking any laws. I'm just trying to survive. These cans, I collect them all week, and on Fridays, I can get maybe $30 at the recycling center. That buys formula for Hope and maybe some bread and peanut butter for me." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. $30. This girl was living on $30 a week, trying to keep herself and a baby alive. "Where are you staying?" Sarah's eyes dropped to the ground. "There's an abandoned building 2 blocks over. The back window doesn't lock. It's not much, but it's dry most nights, and no one bothers us there." "Most nights?" "Well, when it rains like this, the roof leaks pretty bad. But I've got a plastic tarp, so I just make sure Hope stays under it." She said it matter-of-factly, as if this was completely normal, as if every teenage mother was supposed to keep her infant dry with a plastic tarp in an abandoned building. Marcus made a decision then, the kind that probably violated a dozen department protocols, but he didn't care. "My patrol car is around the corner. Let me give you both a ride somewhere warm." Fear flashed across Sarah's face again. "To the station? Are you arresting me?" "No." Marcus's voice was firm. "I'm taking you to my house. My wife, Linda, she'll have dinner ready. And we've got a guest room that's warm and clean. You and Hope can stay the night, get dried off, get a hot meal in you." Sarah stared at him like he'd just spoken a foreign language. "Why would you do that?" "You don't even know me." "Because 12 years ago, before I became a cop, I was a homeless kid in Detroit," Marcus said quietly. "I know what it feels like to be hungry, to be cold, to feel like the whole world has given up on you. And I know what one act of kindness can do. A firefighter named John Davis bought me a meal one night and helped me get into a youth shelter. He saved my life. So now when I can, I pay it forward." Tears were streaming down Sarah's face now, mixing with the rain. "I'm trying so hard," she sobbed. "I love her so much, but I don't know how much longer I can do this. I applied for assistance, but there's a waiting list. I tried to get into the shelter, but they're full. Every single day, I wake up terrified that I'm going to fail her, that she's going to get sick, or that someone is going to take her away because I can't provide the way a mother should. Marcus closed the distance between them and gently took the bag of cans from her shoulder. You're not failing her, Sarah. You're out here in the freezing rain, cutting your hands to pieces trying to feed your baby. That's not failing. That's love. That's the kind of fierce, selfless love that makes someone a real mother. He paused, his own voice thick with emotion. But you don't have to do this alone anymore. Not tonight. Maybe not ever again. The drive to Marcus's house was quiet except for Hope's soft coos. Sarah sat in the back, holding her daughter close, looking out the window like she was seeing the world for the first time. When they pulled into the driveway of a modest two-story house in a working-class neighborhood, Linda Chen was already at the door, having received Marcus's quick phone call. What happened next would become the story Marcus would tell for years to come, the one that would restore people's faith in humanity. Linda took one look at Sarah and Hope, and without a word, wrapped them both in a warm embrace. She drew a bath, found clean clothes, and prepared a meal while Marcus called every contact he had. Social workers, housing advocates, his pastor, even the mayor's office. By morning, Sarah had a path forward. A local church had emergency housing available. Marcus's sister-in-law, who owned a grocery store, offered Sarah a job with flexible hours and childcare. The community rallied, donating baby supplies, clothes, and even setting up a small fund to help Sarah get on her feet. But more than any of that, Sarah had something she'd never had before, people who believed in her. In Marcus and Linda, she found surrogate parents. In their community, she found a family. 6 months later, Marcus attended Sarah's GED graduation ceremony, with Hope, healthy, happy, and growing fast in the audience. Sarah stood at the podium, sharing her story, her voice steady and strong. Officer Chen found me at my lowest point, she said. But he didn't just see a homeless girl with a baby. He saw a mother who was fighting. He saw someone worth saving, and that changed everything. As Marcus watched her speak, he thought about that rainy November night, about the scared girl in the alley, about the baby named Hope. Sometimes he realized the job wasn't about writing tickets or making arrests. Sometimes it was about seeing the humanity in someone everyone else had overlooked. Sometimes it was about remembering that we're all one bad break away from needing help, and one act of kindness away from finding hope again.